Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 28 of 30 of our favorite bass players of all time, our absolute favorite 30 bass players of all time. We're counting down each and every day here this month. We've got two in the books. Number three is here, which comes in at number 28. Across all genres, right? We could pick bass players that played in hard rock and metal, pop, prog, jazz, fusion, blues, country, whatever we want across the board, but they have to be our favorites. And each and every day with our favorite picks, we will be talking about the three favorite albums that they appear on that you love them for the bass playing and maybe other things, and our favorite bass performance in a song, right? So that's how we're doing it each and every day here. For today, for pick number 28, this is a guy who is no longer with us. This was one of those guys where technically maybe not on par with a lot of the other bass players I'm talking about this month, but this guy had the attitude, he had the balls, he played a loud and mean Rickenbacker bass, and he played rock and roll. I'm talking about Mr. Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead and Hawkwind, right? Or Lemmy Kilminster, right? Yeah, the great Lemmy. One of the true greats just from like an overall perspective, like I mentioned, fine bass player. Is he like a Billy Sheehan or, one of those guys? No, but he had a distinct sound and he was the leader of the band. And he just exuded everything that is rock star, regardless of what instrument he played. Originally a guitar player, he would say probably not a very good one, but somehow he got that gig in Hawkwind. And the rest is history, right? Stayed with Hawkwind for a few years, contributed some fine stuff there, and then, of course, went on and formed his own band called Motorhead, which he fronted till the very end, right? He literally kept playing until he passed away from cancer. And, by all accounts, people who I know who I've talked to saw Motorhead on that last tour or whatnot. They said it was kind of difficult to see, but man, that's how he wanted to go out. So you got to give him credit for that. But yeah, the guy on the Rickenbacker bass that had a very trebly distinct sound, could play some really good bottom heavy grooves and some more faster stuff, furious stuff. That's kind of was his thing. But a really, really cool player that I needed to put on this list because he's just so iconic. And you think of Lemmy, you think those vocals, you think the bass playing, you think that band. Right. So picking three albums is kind of difficult here because we have a lot of really great Motorhead records, which I'll get to a couple of them here, but I did want to go back and choose something from the Hawkwind catalog because he did contribute pretty mightily to those couple of Hawkwind albums. And, I do want to mention, I'm not going to pick it, but I did want to mention that Space Ritual, the live album by Hawkwind, contains some just fantastic heavy bass on a spacey, proggy, psychedelic album, right? So I think if you to almost put like an honorable mention out there, you definitely need to hear Space Ritual because I think his contributions to that are very, very mighty. But I'm going to pick the Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do studio record as perhaps my favorite that contains his bass playing. It's not my favorite Hawkwind album from his time in the band, but from a bass perspective, and this is really early on, folks, considering the guy was not a bass player when they brought him in. I think he's doing some fine stuff on here. You got like Brainstorm is on here, signature track from this time period. Again, he was, I think, really key with contributing that big throbbing bottom end to the Hawkwind sound, which they would then continue on and utilize even without him for many, 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 many years up to today. So good, right? You got Lord of Light is on here, Down Through the Night, Time We Left This World Today. That is so like kind of like meditative and spacey and throbbing and just like God, what's the word I'm looking for? It just the repetitiveness of it just kind of ingrains itself in your brain, right? That's so good. Space is Deep is incredible. It's just a really, really good album filled with all sorts of good stuff. The Watchers on here too. Yeah, just a really, really well, I can't talk this morning. Just a really, really great Hawkwind album that's among their upper echelon of album releases, certainly from this period, right? But you can pick any of those early ones. I always thought the cover, well, you're seeing it right there. I always thought the cover of this was just absolutely amazing. If you're wondering why it's looking backwards, because when I use the Prezi app to show the images, that's what it does. Hopefully, I don't have to explain that anymore, but I do see on a daily basis, Pete, why are you backwards? like, man, you're not listening? Come on. All right, so that's my first pick, Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do from the mighty Hawkwind. Next up, have to pick Overkill by Motorhead. It's for me, I've told the story a million times of going to see them live. First concert I ever saw was Motorhead opening up for Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz with Randy Rhoads at the Minnetonka Civic Center, Poughkeepsie, New York. And I had never heard a lick of Motorhead's music before this. And I remember just being blown away by how extreme and loud and brash they were. And I remember we had seats in like the eighth row, and I was literally right in front of Lemmy. And I remember him just sitting there on that Rickenbacker with the microphone all the way up here and just, the whole time. And I was like, holy cow, this is like an assault, right? And then not long after, I was in Record World in Middletown, New York, in the Orange Plaza Mall, going through albums, and happened to stumble upon M, and there was this, and I'm like, oh yeah, Motorhead. Just saw them not too long ago. Love that album cover. I'm buying it. And I did. And it's still my favorite Motorhead album to this day, amongst a lot of great ones that they have in their catalog. But there's something about this record that just always has got me. I think it's got so much variety on it, right? It's heavy in spots, it's fast and speedy in others, it's more kind of like dark and atmospheric and bluesy in others, right? Just so good. I mean, the title track is amazing. Stay Clean, I Won't Pay Your Price, I'll Be Your Sister's great, but I love stuff like Capricorn. Right, Capricorn's so good. Metropolis is great. Limb from Limb, No Class, Damage Case, Tear You Down. There's a lot of fast bruises, and behind all of it, you get the big kind of bluesy metallic shards of guitars from Fast Eddie Clarke, but then there's that bass. There's that Rickenbacker that's just cutting through the mix left and right at every turn you go. Just so good. And I love the live shots on the back of there. That was Lemmy back then, right? He's got the bullet belt and the microphone all the way up here, and it's exactly how I remember. Funny enough, the crazy thing is, that was a long time ago. That was 40 some odd. That was 44 years ago that I saw that concert. And honestly, I remember because it was a long time ago. You know how the get older, the memory banks start to fade. I remember more of the Motorhead set than I do the Ozzy set for some reason. That's kind of sad because I really want to remember what it was like to see Randy Rhoads live and all that. And I had just fleeting memories of that show because it was so long ago. But I do remember Motorhead a little bit more for whatever reason. Um, yeah, it is what it is, right? My third pick is going to be Ace of Spades, of course. Got to be this album. I think his bass playing is just fantastic on this record, and just fast and furious and loud. And every song is just filled with that big sound from him, right? Whether it's the title track, Love Me Like a Reptile, Shoot You in the Back, Jailbait, Fire, Fire, Bite the Bullet, The Hammer, just so much raucous stuff on here. That's just, like I said, fast and furious and dirty and grimy, and it all works. And behind it all, right alongside those rumbling drums and that kind of sweaty vocal guitar attack from Fast Eddie is Lemmy's bass. It stands out. And again, I've complained often over the years about how in a lot of heavy music, past and present, the bass player is just kind of there. You don't really doesn't stand out. Not in this band. Not with Lemmy. Lemmy always made sure that his bass playing was heard, regardless of who they work with on the production side. You listen to a Motorhead album, you're going to hear that bass. You listen to a Hawkwind album, you're going to hear that bass. It was impossible to keep this guy in the background. Absolutely impossible. So my favorite performance from an album, from a song, in a song, it was pretty easy for me to pick this one. And again, he's probably got better bass lines and things on other tracks, but something about first time I heard the title track to Overkill after that opening drum barrage, when that Fast Eddie comes in, it's glorious. It's absolutely glorious. And he's doing that all throughout the song. He's just busy as hell. And again, it's so Lemmy, right? It's just the living hard, living fast. And playing fast. That's just what he always did. So that's my pick for favorite song. Title track to Overkill. Amazing, amazing. So that is my pick for today, Mr. Lemmy Kilmister. one of the greats, one of the great rock stars of all time, right? And a guy who, yeah, when you really think about it, probably him and the band deserved a lot more success than they got. I think they always had the respect, but like, you go up to 10 random people on the street, you go out to a mall and you stop 10 random people. It's like, what do you think of Motorhead? I guarantee you, like 8 or 9 out of the 10 are going to have no idea who Motorhead is. If you're asking rockers, right, or metal fans, of course. But general music people probably have never heard of Motorhead, which is a shame. I think how Motorhead should have been a household name. There's something about it. Motorhead to me were just as important as bands like the Sex Pistols and the Ramones and Van Halen and all that sort of thing. A lot of these great groundbreaking bands that Led Zeppelin. Maybe their music isn't as iconic, but I think they were just as important to the type of music that, in an industry that they played in. So. And Lemmy, one of the great bass players of all time. That's why he sits at number 28 for me. So let us know what you think of Lemmy down in the comments below, as well as your pick for today, pick number 28. And we'll see you tomorrow for number 27. Till then, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options. Thank you, everybody, for all your support there. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll see you tomorrow as I turn the Prezi off. We'll see you tomorrow for pick number 27. What do we got coming up on the channel? Like I said, I hope to get to you today. If it's not today, it'll be tomorrow. My 10 favorite prog bands of all time. That's coming up on the channel. We've got more new music reviews happening all this week, so I'll get them as they come. And like I said, we've got loads of stuff sitting here. I've got the new, hopefully, should get to John Anderson, the Band Geeks live album over the next couple days. I've got brand new Motorpsycho, Envy of None, Sirathungo Live, Nad Sylvan, new George Joe Split. We got brand new Catatonia just arrived here. Got new Lux Terminus. I've got what else is sitting here? I've got the new A through Z. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. We'll get to it. New Tusmork is here as well. Um, yeah, lots of stuff. So stay tuned for more. I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.